All right, it's been a while. I just did a 1 week dopamine detox. Spent a full week without using technology practically. The only exceptions was I checked my email quickly on Monday to check for an important email. I checked again on Friday, and aside from that, I used this phone to record a few clips. What I did was record the first time I ate food after a few days without eating. So I'll go into a bit more detail about what I got up to in my week without using technology in an attempt to reset my dopamine in my brain. So let's see what I did. Day one, I did nothing. I did practically nothing. I sat here in my room all day. I had a cold shower. In fact, I had two cold showers, nothing else to do. Probably spent 3 hours trying to meditate and looking outside my window, and just didn't leave the house, didn't really leave my room. So that was the first day, a complete reset of not doing anything, not reading, also not eating. I decided to spend the first 3 days of my 7 day dopamine detox also not eating and doing a water fast where I only drank water. I did this for more reasons, primarily because I'm trying to reset the dopamine, also because I want to get into the habit of eating healthy food and cooking healthy food. I also want to appreciate simple flavors of fruit. I believe I saw Yes Theory, one of the members did a 5 day water fast. I only went for 3. And the way they enjoyed fruit on the 5th day, I wanted to replicate that. So yeah, I also decided that starting on day 3, I was going to allow myself to read. And I read a book called The Essential Vegetarian Indian Cookbook, which on day 3 of not eating anything, you can only imagine how well that works, to read a book about food after 3 days of not eating. I was feeling really hungry. So yeah, the hunger started around halfway through the first day, is when it started. It just slowly increased. So that was the day I've meditated the most in my life, and that was the day that I started thinking about food all the time. On day 2, the memories about my food were becoming more emotional than they were physical. When a memory would come flooding back to my brain, normally about food that I ate, about most of the time in Portugal, because they have fantastic food there. It also came with a deep gratitude, just remembering how good it tasted. It almost made me tear up at certain points, remembering food all day, because when you're hungry, that's what you're going to think about. Day 2, the only difference from the first day is that I was allowed to clean the house. I allowed myself that. And when you spend a day and a half doing nothing, cleaning the house becomes really entertaining, so I enjoyed doing that. Day 3, I started reading the Vegetarian Indian Cookbook, and I took note of all the recipes that I wanted to learn. That ended up filling up most of my day, and the day passed a lot quicker. Being able to read a book versus not reading a book, the day goes by much quicker. Yeah, and I also felt less hungry, ironically, probably because my mind was focused on reading, even though it was a cookbook. So yeah, that was day 3. Took note of a bunch of recipes I wanted to try, because on day 4, that was the day I allowed myself to go shopping and actually make some recipes. So I bought fruit. I bought pineapple, apples, oranges, and bananas, and oh sorry, I already said banana. Yeah, strawberries as well. And so yeah, I bought all of this fruit, chopped it all up, and I even filmed my reaction because I wanted to look back on it to see if there was anything particularly exciting about it. All there is in the clip really is a very grateful William eating that fruit, being amazed at how sweet and acidic it was. It was incredible. I was very joyous, and I even caught myself in a sort of mindful moment where my brain hypothesized, what if I went 3 days without eating, but then only ate the ripest fruit instead of what you get at the local Tesco? And that almost made that moment that I was having, which was already a great moment, a bit worse by comparison. So my brain conjured up a thought where I combined two great ideas, and then that made a hypothetical hyper reality that was better, which compared to my current one, where I was already doing well, it just seemed more tame by comparison. And I noticed my mind doing that. So being mindful, catching myself doing that is very important, although it's very difficult to sort of turn off that part of my brain which combines ideas and goes wandering all the time. Anyway, so there was that. I also had a chance to be, reflective of my life, who I am, who I want to become, And the number one thing I realised while chatting for a short while with my housemate was I don't do enough video editing. I bought a course on Black Friday. That's the end of November. It's already the end of March, which means 4 months have passed. And I haven't passed this one course. It's not about passing a course, it's about doing it, watching the videos, following the tutorials. A third of a year's gone by and I haven't finished it. And I realised I've really been lacking on video editing. It was something that I was meant to be doing every day for a few hours every day and building that habit. And I've just been postponing and postponing and postponing. And I make a task list of things that I want to do. I make that task list and I'll go through it easily. I never write down do 2 hours of video editing, and I always look for tasks to do instead of video editing, which is very strange. The whole point I made this channel was to get me into that mood. Right now I want to finish this course, follow the tutorials, learn cool techniques, and learn before I move on to the production side. And I do want to get more practice in, so that's the most important thing I realised on this 1 week dopamine detox. While I'm good at seeing where I might have negatives like I eat too many sugars or I watch too much YouTube and I can reduce those, I don't spend enough time increasing my video editing output, so I should be doing that. So yeah, it's been very good for being reflective of these moments. I also went for many walks, saw many sunsets. That was very enjoyable also. On day 4 I made chili cheese on toast, which is just cheese on toast with extra steps. It's got spring onion, red chilies and garlic, and it is worth it. It is worth the extra 10 minutes to prepare the ingredients, not even that. And then you pop it in the oven for 6-7 minutes. It is incredible. You can taste all the elements and they combine very well. So it's such a good idea to buy a cookbook, read it properly, and then find recipes you want to try. On that same day for dinner, I made mushroom masala with pilau rice. Again, absolutely incredible. I'm really happy that I'm trying all these new flavors and learning more recipes. One of my objectives for this year was to learn 26 recipes. I've now already bumped that up to close to 10. I've already learned 8 recipes, and yes, I'm happy about that. What else? For the next day, on day 5, I read a Marvel book. It talks all about Marvel heroes, the universe, bad guys, all of that. Had another chat with my housemate, and I realised that not only is there the aspect that I'm not putting enough time into video editing, I realised the day before, but on this day I realised I keep feeling like, I want to eat sugars all the time. Like, it's always on my mind that today, first day that I'm not on the dopamine detox, I could go to the shops and buy sugars. And I was thinking for a long time during the week, that's what I was going to do. But instead of feeling like I need it, all I can do is actually really smile and say, I'm glad I've got good memories. I'm grateful for having such elevating moments in the past for my brain trying to tilt the balance towards, pursuing that pleasure again. Of course, there's the pain with not having it in the moment as I remember it, but instead all I've got to do is be grateful that I've even got something to tilt the brain balance of dopamine that way anyway. Be grateful that I've got these memories of sugar, and be grateful in a weird sense that I'm wanting to eat it, but I must always focus on my better self, not give in to eating the sugars. So that's why at the end of this 1 week dopamine detox, I'm planning to not watch YouTube and not eat sugars for another 3 weeks, which means in my free time, I'm doing video editing and I'm reading, which is what I'm meant to be focusing on anyway, particularly the video editing. I don't want to get too caught up in reading now, so yeah. Day 5, I made, leftovers. On day 6, I made a sweet potato curry, which was alright, not as good as the mushroom masala or as cheese on toast. Another recipe anyway. And I do plan to try even more recipes, do some shopping tomorrow, make new stuff every week. What else can I say? I'm just going to check my notes. So yesterday was my last day. Got a whole bunch of errands done, like I cleaned my PC for the first time in a while, dusted it all, installed an SSD, that sort of thing. Getting things in order so that I could enjoy my life moving forward. So what have I done today? The first day after the dopamine detox, practically spent all day reading a book called Dopamine Nation, which will be my next video, a review of that, which will be coming right after this one. So what is my main reflection of this 1 week dopamine detox? Do I recommend it to people? What has changed in me? I'd say first and foremost, it's the contrast of going from doing a lot of YouTube and eating lots of sugar and doing whatever I want to suddenly doing nothing really makes you notice the time in a day. Time flies when you're distracted. You can go on your phone or on the computer and do whatever you want, and the sun will go from that point of the planet to that point of the planet. Easy. When you're doing nothing, you have to take time to recognize you're here, you're breathing all day, you're a person all day, you're not just mindlessly scrolling and wandering on the internet, you're here. That was something that I didn't really pay too much attention to. Now, it seems obvious. I say this and you're like, yeah, that's obvious. One thing is to actually live it and experience it. I'd say also a very important realization is that unless you do a dopamine detox, you're not going to understand the wisdom that you can get from it. You may pretend and say, oh, what other people learn from this, it's obvious I don't need to do it to learn it. The truth is that you never really get that perspective until you go through it. You're always going to assume that you understand. In my case, I thought I knew what I wanted. It was 1 week of no YouTube and sugars. Only after 1 week I realized, actually I should be doing this for a month. I should be doing this for 4 weeks. So I'm going to do 3 more. And by then I'll have a completely different experience. And so there's a lot of wisdom to be gained from actually going through this experience. I will admit, by reading books, I kind of cheated the process a little bit. I feel like that's not a proper dopamine detox. Reading did make the days pass faster. Sun going from that side to that side, all of that. But I did try new recipes. I did try to make myself more aware. By not eating food for 3 days, I really understood what it's like to go from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, always feeling hunger. Brief moments where you're not focused on it, but for most of the day you are. It made things smell amazing. That was cool. To be able to just smell something simple like butter on toast that my housemate was making. My brain's like, butter on toast. It's like, I think an easy way to say it is, when I ate food again, it's not like it tasted different. It was the same food, but my brain was paying more attention to it, whereas you probably give 20% of your brain power towards food and get 80% of the flavor when you're really hungry. It's more like you're giving 100% of your brain towards the food, or at least 80, and then you feel like an extra 20% of flavor. So it goes from like 70 to 80% of the flavor as you normally eat things. When you're hungry, it becomes 100%, and that's incredible. So I'm very grateful for that. Overall, it's a very positive experience, and I feel like it's the kickstart that I needed to break out of the addiction of watching YouTube and sugars. And I hope to report back in a month and say, yeah, that was really a change that I needed. And I also hope to increase my video editing output. If there was one message future me needs to understand at all points in time, is do more video editing. Do more video editing, which is what I'll be doing after I upload this video. So yeah, thank you for watching. And next video, a review of the book, Dopamine Nation.